live. We're live. That was a great panel. We heard about the macro level of the business. Now we're going to talk about how the sausage is made with one of the leaders in fast channels. This is my friend Craig.
Hey, nice. Nice to be here and nice to be heard.
So the first question is, where does Wurl play in the industry, in the business? Tell me what position you guys fit, and just talk a little bit about that.
Hopefully everybody has heard about Wurl, but if you haven't, we do distribution, monetization, data, and marketing services for content companies to virtually any platform worldwide. We do it for about, I think, 2,500 channels plus in the universe.
So you're mostly focused on fast and ad-supported business, right?
Completely focused on fast.
Okay.
That's all we do.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were acquired a while ago by a big company, a public company, right?
Big company.
How does that change your feelings about things? How does it change how you operate? How does it change, how do the rules now change?
Well, it's always great when you're a startup and you get bought by a huge company where there are great synergies. So AppLovin is the company that biggest company that very few people have heard of. They're a marketing platform for app developers, and Wurl is a marketing platform for content companies. So if you take and both are very adept at advertising, Wurl being for CTV or for connected television and fast, and AppLovin being for mobile devices. And they have a huge conglomerate of advertisers that we're going to tap into, and companies are working together, and it makes a lot of sense to bring them together, and they'll just be stronger on targeting abilities and everything. So we're doing a lot of work together on that. It's early stages, but we're making some great progress.
So if I'm a channel and I'm launching and I want to expand myself internationally, I want to expand myself domestically, tell me how the beginning of how your sales pitch basically to these channels. I'm a sales guy, you deal with sales. What's the benefit? What's the power structure here?
Well, it's actually pretty easy. I came from the cable industry, for the first half of my career, and I remember I worked for Time Warner Cable, and somebody would come to us with a channel idea. It would take a year or two, maybe 3, to get that channel up and running. Now it can happen in 4 to 6 weeks, as long as you have content rights and access to the content and a good idea. You can put the channel together. It might take a little longer to make sure you get all the distribution points that you want, but you can start with your first distribution point and platform and then build from there. It's very easy.
You say it's easy. I'm not thinking it's that easy.
It's pretty easy. You just upload your content, drag and drop, build your schedule, and it's ready to go.
So do you provide consultation how to do this? Can you look at the marketplace and suggest where they should be?
Yeah, we see ourselves as a partner to the content companies, so we really spend a lot of time talking about strategy with them and looking at where they want to go, what they want to achieve, what's their primary purpose. Some fast channels are created because they want to feed their SVOD services, more subscribers for the SVOD services. Some just want to make money with the content that they have. So it depends on what their goals are. We sit down and we help them put together the channel. We have experts in putting together content channels and things like that. So we help them every step of the way.
So I'm hearing a lot of broadcast talk. You have experience in the broadcast business. How is it different? How is it better? Or are we going to be looking at, in 2 or 3 years, the same old broadcast, linear, ad-supported business?
I think it's pretty similar. I think the difference is that there's no limits now, right? So in cable, we had tremendous limits of, I started in cable, I'm really old, 12 channels was how many channels we were bringing, and we thought, oh, wow, that's amazing. And then suddenly we got 56 and more and more and more. But we were always limited. Every time we wanted to add more channels, we had to send technicians out to people's backyards and get with Scientific Atlanta, though there's an old name, and develop a new set-top box that could handle those channels. There are no limits today on the internet, and it's mind-boggling that we're not taking advantage of that more as an industry, because I still feel like you know, and if I can think out of the box as an old cable guy, I don't know why other people can't. I think they're stuck a lot of times and think of this as traditional cable, and then it will be the old cable. It'll look exactly like that, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. There's unlimited amount. There's no reason to have 200 channels on your service. You can have 1,500 channels on your service and give something for everybody, and I guarantee it'll monetize, because if you're looking at a global market, you could have a channel that has paint drying, and you could fill the ads.
I subscribe to that, by the way.
You could fill those ads somewhere, because people are going to watch paint dry somewhere, right?
So what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is that the retrieval of data from fast channels is a challenge. How does Wurl address that?
Well, we've always believed that the content companies own the data. So we give every piece of data that we can that we're allowed to the content companies. We even have, like, what we call a data fire hose. You can download the data directly from our systems into your systems and manipulate it any way you want. That's being restricted a bit, right? And just like cable, we didn't want content companies to know what the viewers were like and how many people were watching. We knew all of that, but we didn't let them see it. That's happening. It's starting to happen with some of the platforms, the bigger ones certainly, and it's very mind-boggling to me, because why wouldn't you want your content companies to be able to program their channels using intelligent data and find out what sells better in what parts of the country and what parts of the world is this content working better, and making adjustments so that you can all make money together. It's just amazing to me that there would be that restriction, and I think you know, content companies need to push very hard on you know, they own the content. Content is still king, and they got to push really hard on making sure that they get access to that data and that they retain that data, because that's part of their content.
I'm also hearing that's a challenge for a lot of people, that it's not transparent enough.
It's not transparent enough. Some of the platforms, and interestingly enough, many of the platforms that are here today and yesterday, are very transparent. They're providing that data. The bigger ones are, you know, like, okay, they have this, you know, walled garden mentality. If I show too much, I'll lose control. And I think there's a way to find a medium.
I want to stop for 1 second. Are there any quick questions right now? We're not going to have a lot of time at the end. Is there anyone has a question for these? Can you speak up if you're going to talk to me?
I'm sorry. So
I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Yeah. We're going where the advertisers take us. So you look at, you know, and that's because we want content companies to make money. So right now we're you know, outside of the U.S. and Canada, UK is doing very well, and Germany, the DACH region, is doing very well. So we are there full force. We're bringing on more and more content platform distributors and things like that in those markets. There are platforms that are in, Latin America, India, Brazil, Mexico, they're all great. The advertisers aren't there yet. So you can go to Brazil and everybody will watch, there's a lot of people there, so they'll all watch the content, but if you're not selling any advertisers and the CPMs are so low and your fill rates are so low, you're not going to be able to pay your CDN costs. So that is the challenge right now, and it's changing rapidly. It's going to grow. I'm very bullish on Brazil and Mexico specifically. But it'll happen. We're in Australia, and Asia is starting to pick up, the APAC, and so it'll come together. It's got to be the advertisers have to come with it.
Okay, yes, sir.
Yeah, we definitely find that that if your content is available in the native language, that it gets a lot more viewers, definitely, and there are ways for you to do that. There's some great technology out here and that are here at the show that you can talk to as well, of ways that you can get your content translated pretty inexpensively.
So, is broadcast dead? Is it dying?
Well, I think
Are we going to be sitting shit?
I think this title of this is cable dead, right? I mean, if the platforms decide that they want to look just like cable and they restrict themselves and they don't really think of themselves as the internet and have all this opportunity and continue to keep the data to themselves, they won't win, because cable is doing the same thing. Cable TV is like a distribution method right today, and they're switching. They're moving over to fast pretty rapidly. They're going to change the model. They own the pipe to the house. Still today, I don't know any better pipe that comes in your house. My kids always say, "Oh, I cut the cord," because they think it's funny because I worked most of my life in cable. I'm like, well, how are you getting your internet? Oh, I'm getting it from Charter. I'm getting it from Comcast. Okay, well, you haven't really cut the cable, the cord, it's still coming into your house. So they own that, and if they're going to compete on a head-to-head with these guys, they're going to end up winning or buying them, right? Comcast is really good at that. So, it's really going to, the platforms that are going to do well are the ones that are going to think out of the box. How do I give everybody everything they want? Give them opportunities to find. We can use performance marketing to lead people to find the content that is interesting to them, lead them to ways to create their own lineup, and so it's really personalized. You can't do that on cable. Then they'll win. But otherwise, if they go the old route and stuck in the old thinking, they're going to lose.
Okay, so it's a very crowded path right now. How do you break through? I know Wurl attempts to do that, but how would you tell the customer how to break through the clutter?
Well, and a lot of that is, if you're going to have 1,500 channels, it's really good. Someone was on a panel earlier saying it takes them 2 hours to find something to watch that night. If you have 1,500 to go through, it's going to take you longer than that. You'll be getting up in the morning and saying, we still haven't found anything. But the real thing, the real idea is to devise ways to lead the customers to the content that they want, and that is through performance marketing. That's something that we're investing in very heavily. We already have products and services out to help people, lead people to the content that they want, and then let them, and then, once they start building their own lineup, what they like, you can target new channels, new programs, new services that'll lead them, and you can watch them go right over to that, while still maintaining all the privacy laws and rules of the different countries, including the US, that you have to do. You can do that, and that's the way I think that people, that content companies can really prevail.
Okay, so we're friends, but I think I might change that by asking you a tough question.
Okay.
Look at the industry from your point of view, from Wurl's point of view. Who will win?
Well, I think I would just say it's probably going to be whoever is the most innovative. And that could be, it could be the OTT fast CTV groups or the apps, or it could be the cable companies. We'll see, but they have to come out of the old way of thinking.
Craig, you were great. Thank you for coming. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here. Thank you for joining my panel.
Our next presentation is from